Hey guys, welcome to the Hype Attack podcast, where we weigh in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype.
We are the fandom. We are the excited conversations we have with our friends about the nerdy things we all love and geek about. We are the Hype Attack.
I am the hype!
Jermaine?
I thought we were just doing another test of that. Oh, my bad.
We're live.
My bad. Okay.
No, go ahead. We can end it
Keep it in real. No, fuck that. Keep it in. It's real. Jermaine.
First blooper. I made it, guys. I'm Jermaine, and a little bit about myself for my generation of what things that I like and grew up with. Thundercats has to be my number one that I have to go with my boy Lionel. Ninja Turtles, Silverhawks, you got a little Voltron. Anime-wise, Dragon Ball Z was the thing that got me mostly into anime. But besides that, Ninja Scroll and that Street Fighter 2 animated movie, I still think those are contenders to this day of anime quality. And to my right with me in this conversation, Rudy.
Hey, everyone. Like the man said, my name is Rudy. I am a connoisseur of all things nerd. My specialties are Star Wars, a little bit of comics, not too deep, but, I have that background. Cartoons, of course, Power Rangers, all that good 90s stuff. I am the elder statesman in the room, so I have a little bit more of the older cartoons,
Milord.
But I didn't stop at like some kids did in the 80s and 90s and just identify with that. Like I take it all in.
Can't stop, won't stop.
The forehead shining directly to my right.
Hey guys, I'm the voice that you heard initially on this fantastical podcast. I'm Isaac, one of the four co-hosts. A little bit about me. I'm the youngest of the group. I'm just a little baby boy. These guys are way more.
You have to say youngest twice.
These guys are way more better, well versed in all things nerd. They are platinum card carrying members of all this stuff.
And we let them know he's talking to you from under the table
all the time. And we have a shame button you'll probably hear later on. Don't touch it. Rudy running the board because I'm more peripherally aware of all of these things. Like I'm more into movies and TV shows. Like I didn't read a lot of comics like some people do. We'll throw it to Doug in a second because he's Mr. Comics. So who else read? Both y'all read
comics,
dude,
manga.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are all big in comics, but for me, it was cartoons, it was TV shows, it's movies, and I get to learn stuff from you guys, from the wise old men of the group, and you guys are always teaching me stuff. Maybe you're busting my balls, but I am open to learning, and that's what it's going to be about. I'm going to be learning some stuff along with the audience. So, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get slammed for being the dum-dum. That's why we have the shame button. Don't hit it. Don't hit it. Enough about me. Sitting to my right, beautiful Doug. How you doing?
Hi. Hey, everybody. Yeah, thinking back through the history of my life and my nerd culture, I realized I am very much a hardcore nerd from the beginning. Definitely grew up with all those cartoons, the Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, all those. But, I mean, early on, I was playing Dungeons & Dragons. I was reading comic books. I would ride my bike, a few miles, which surprisingly my parents would let me do, to go get comic books.
Back in the 50s?
Yeah, way back then in the 80s, 90s. But yeah, Star Trek, and that was such a family thing, especially between me and my dad, being able to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, Star Wars, like all those shows, all those movies, the games, Nintendo, PlayStation, Final Fantasy. I grew up playing a lot of that. Yeah, it's one of those things. And as I got older, I never really let it go. I still play with a lot of toys and stuff and games,
As
especially.
You have a giant Nerf rocket launcher out there.
Yeah, that thing is awesome too. The other thing I want to touch on is I think this podcast.
Speak.
There's it's something I find myself asking myself a lot about, like why at the age of 40 does all this stuff still matter so much to me? Because and I think you'll see that question a lot in the social medias and just out in the world. And surprisingly enough, this week I read a great quote from what was her name? Sophia Lillis. I think she played Doric in the new Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie. And this is what she said, and I really like this. She's talking about the Dungeons and Dragons game, but I think it applies to all nerd life. She said, I think there is a human need to engage the imagination. And I think as we get older, we shame ourselves out of that need. But I think specifically adult fans of this game haven't forgotten that inner child. They haven't forgotten that engaging in a sense of play is just as important as food and water. And that's something that, she put words to something that I've always kind of thought that, well deserved.
Where's the audience?
I think it's just something that we as nerds or fandom, cosplayers, all that whole group, gamers, we've managed to hold on to something that I think I really do think that some people have just kind of forgotten, and I think it's very important.
Yeah, that inner childhood,
big time. My stepdad had a conversation with me eons ago when I was watching Gargoyles. Phenomenal cartoon, by the way.
Yes.
He came downstairs and I was there on the couch watching Gargoyles, and I was maybe 21 at the time, and he said, "Are you ever gonna not stop watching cartoons?" I looked at him and said, "Never." and I had a small conversation with him. I was like, what is it about this cartoon that you see that's not in any of these shows that you watch? I don't care, whatever, it's Westerns or anything, that's his genre. But I'm like, do you just see it as it's just a cartoon,
right,
and it doesn't have, any depth or,
morals
dynamic
story,
to it? Yeah. And he's one of those, he's like, I just look at it and it's for kids. Mm-hmm. So with that conversation said, he sat there and started watching Gargoyles with me, and he got hooked.
Yeah.
He just couldn't understand how the characters and how everything was just so good. I mean, that cartoon in general, it's just a phenomenal cartoon, but he literally got hooked and he started watching every episode after that. Well, and then I came downstairs and I'm like, you little bitch.
He's watching it without me. No, to that point, I find that some of the stuff that I had watched as a kid, where I liked it for just the action and all the flashy stuff, whether it be a cartoon, a live action show, a movie, whatever. When I revisit it, if it holds up, I then find, there is some deeper storyline to it. Mm-hmm. Something you can still gain from as an adult.
Oh yeah, when you rewatch things, you grab a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't see when you were a kid.
And some stuff that's air quote for kids, will have something that the parents can also watch with them at the same time and still be entertained.
Shrek is a big one. Also, to add to what Doug's saying about that
man boy,
that thing that you like you need, and that joy in your life, and not letting that kid go.
Yeah.
I to this day always carry the Sword of Omens with me. It's literally on my hip, claw shield, ready to go for whatever may come. That ever since I watched that cartoon, that thing has always been on my hip. It goes with me in the shower.
Please don't slip and fall. I've heard many news stories involving ketchup bottles and various fruits. Please don't slip and fall.
Yeah. I think that's been the culture though, is to when you get to a certain age, you're supposed to put all that stuff away and do adult stuff.
Yeah.
I think now we're getting to that point where it's, why do we have to do that? Why can't we still enjoy ourselves, and still be entertained?
Yeah.
Well into the ages that we are now, and not be looked at that's kid stuff.
Yeah, and I was perfect. I was gonna say a lot of it's just not kid stuff. Comic books. None of us brought up comic books, but I grew up reading DC as a child, and then my college years, a lot of DC comics, and I delved into some Image and some the more independent stuff. Unfortunately, not a lot of Marvel, but now we got the movies to cover that. But DC Comics, there's a few that are for kids, but for the most part, they're not kid stories. And so to go sit at a coffee shop and read a comic book, to me, it's it shouldn't be seen as childish. Some of those stories are very, they cover a lot of topics, important topics. And just because it's not a novel full of words, but I mean, yeah, it's
There's the story arc. I mean, like the character development, that the trauma, the loss to make that character grow. But for now, we do want to kick off our show with some news to keep you guys all afloat and abreast of things that are happening in the nerd and pop culture hype.
Oh yeah, we can definitely get into some news. So we got a new trailer for Secret Wars, which I think it looks good to me from what I saw. I think it's getting back to what Marvel should have, been doing in the first place, but we'll get into that later. So we got Extraction 2. We got a trailer for Blue Beetle, which
Looked fun.
Yes,
That looked fun.
I'm actually excited for that.
It looked fun, but then so did Wonder Woman 84. And that kind of got off the rails too. So
But
We'll cover a little bit of that
judgment on that
in
one.
our main topic. Yeah.
oh, then we got a trailer for Spider-Verse, which I think has an interesting question that I would like to throw around the room about
go
that trailer. And
Yes.
these last two are announcements that came out, Starfleet Academy and a Harry Potter HBO reboot series. Is there anything in there particular that you guys are excited, hyped for?
Yes, as previously mentioned, I love Spider-Man, and I love that second trailer of Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse, not into the Spider, across
Yes.
the Spider-Verse. I'm. Who's the villain in that? Does it look like it's going to be future Spider-Man?
Spider-Man
I mean,
2099.
Yeah,
From what Oscar Isaac,
love me some Oscar.
from what I take from this trailer is that they're making it seem like he's the villain, but we don't really know why, because there's a reason why Miles wasn't invited to this particular spider party, verse or whatever. but
They say something about like a sacrifice, right?
yes,
But he had a sacrifice. He had his own uncle. Maybe it was an Uncle Ben. Maybe his uncle was a bit of a bad guy prowler.
well, we don't know what
Voiced
the
by Murph.
sacrifice is, but apparently there is, like, Miles is supposed to sacrifice something, which we don't know yet. But I know that Sony said that this particular Spider-Verse movie is supposed to be also a love story between Miles and Gwen. So
Seems a
that-
little incestual
that might
as far as
have to do-
multiverse goes. Loki?
that might have something to do with it.
I'm trying to remember. This was part 1 also, right?
Yes, this is part 1 of 2.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
I didn't
you
know
haven't
that.
heard
I thought the
Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee.
first
Nani?
teaser.
Oh my god.
I could be wrong. I mean, maybe
No,
they've
no, no,
changed
no.
it, but I thought the
That's-
first
that's-
teaser dropped with like Across
never
the
wrong, Doug.
Spider-Verse.
Across the
Part
Spider-Verse,
1.
yes, it's a part 1.
Oh,
Absolutely missed
dude,
that.
I did not know that. Please
I
somebody
believe it's
confirm
in
that.
the tra-
I
I
wish
mean,
there was some
not the
web
trailer,
of
but it's in the
information that you could look to.
Yeah. Oh, web.
Well, as you're looking that up to confirm it, because that's coming out, by the way, that's coming out on June 2nd, so I'm excited to see that. What I'm also excited to see, I thought it was pretty fun, going not out of the Marvel universe, escaping from the Marvel universe, going into the DC universe, Blue Beetle. Starring the kid that was in Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
I can't pronounce his name. I've heard it a couple of times. I can't pronounce it. Somebody,
You guys know how much I butcher names, so I will not try.
I'll attempt it, but that one looks pretty fun. I like the way that the suit looks. It looks really flashy and actiony. Co-starring George Lopez, I think. What's her name? America Chavez? No, I don't know. But cut that out. It looks pretty fun and actiony. It might be a little bit cheesy, but again, we were just talking about our little escapes. Some stuff doesn't. Some superhero stuff, in my opinion, doesn't always have to have a really deep message, and we really learn something from it. Sometimes I want to just check my brain out at the door and watch some stuff blow up.
Yeah, going back to the suit, like you said, I will say nowadays almost all the suits in these shows just look so great. And it's
God.
fun because
I
there
love
was
it.
always that conversation, especially early on, about like, oh, we can't bring these suits into live action. How are they going to look?
X-Men.
Yeah.
The first
X-Men.
X-Men. They were leather, and they made a joke of like, "What do you think we wore yellow spandex?"
Yeah, they should have. No, I mean, I think
they were almost gonna do it, too.
I think there's still maybe some suits that that will never translate well, like directly. But I'm glad that we are leaning more into like, let's get as accurate as possible. And this Blue Beetle suit certainly is. But as far as the trailer goes, it certainly looks exciting. So I feel at this point it's maybe going to be that safe formulaic movie where they're going to get the thing, and he gets a suit. There's going to be a lot of screaming,
Yeah.
and then they're going to do the thing, and there's going to be more screaming.
It feels-
like that setup of
Yeah.
of like you get the main character that's doing something, and he's got all these side characters that are going to add a lot of that kind of banter, and eventually they're going to give him the speech. I think they showed it in the trailer, like, "Oh, you got to decide what you want to do," or whatever.
That was a horrible George Lopez.
And I have to. I wasn't trying to be
Lopez does a
George
horrible
Lopez.
George Lopez. Come on.
You couldn't be George Lopez.
But we can't talk about the Blue Beetle trailer without the controversial thing at the end, which was, "Oh, I got a lot of, they're like Batman's toys. Batman's a fascist."
Oh, yeah.
It makes no sense. I can't figure. I mean, this was written, probably with Batfleck in mind, because the whole shakeup hadn't happened. So thinking about the representation that we've had of Batman in the the Snyder movies that we've seen, I don't know if I've ever considered Batman any sort of fascist, and I'm hoping maybe that character in Blue Beetle is just like some hypersensitive. I don't want to say sensitive.
well, he's a teenager, so.
but he's not the
probably
one who
yes.
said it. It was George Lopez.
No, oh, that's true. That is
So
true.
I don't know
George
if
Lopez's
it's. I
character.
don't want to
Yeah.
say sensitive, but like hyper attuned to pointing out fascism or something like that.
The actor, I'm going to give it an attempt. Blue Beetle is going to be played by Zolo Maridueña.
Cobra Kai kid.
That's
I think I
actually
hit it.
pretty good.
Oh, Harvey Guillen's going to be in it. He was Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows. Great show on FX.
Good show.
It's gonna, Susan
that
Sarandon
show.
is going to be in it too.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited for that
Susan
one.
Sarandon is playing Cord, right?
Yep, Victoria Cord.
Yeah. So Ted Cord was, I think, technically the second Blue Beetle, but probably one of the more famous Blue Beetles in the DC comics. So, and she was definitely implied to be like a villain in this movie. So I thought that was kind of an interesting take.
I love her too. So that movie is going to be coming out on August 18th of this year. Doug, I saw you perk up when our dear lovely friend Jermaine mentioned Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to talk about more trailers?
No, let's get back into the trailers. We'll get back into Extraction 2,
Yeah. Extraction 2.
which was one of the ones that we skipped.
I forgot that. My bad. Look at that. My whole thing out. I forgot that I've seen Extraction 1. Like when I saw Extraction 2, I was like, who cares? I bet it's a whatever movie. I didn't see the first one. And then I did see the first one. And I
and
liked
then
it
you
a lot.
dove into your Remembera, and then you remember.
I had the exact same reaction, but I actually, in fact, have not watched Extraction 1.
It's surprisingly good.
Now,
It's surprisingly
now you can
fun.
shame yourself.
I would argue
Hit
that
the
maybe
shame.
No, not for this one. Not for this one.
Not like this.
There's
Not like
there's
this.
there's some deeper things that's for. The Extraction is not one.
Are you shaming me?
Yes.
I'd argue that Extraction might not be
Shameception.
as nerdy as some of the others, because it's an action movie, but it's a darn good action movie. It has Chris Hemsworth, so it's Thor. And I just watched it today, and I thought it was really cool. The way they did that trailer, where it was almost just one scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was really unique.
The action in the first one was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was impressive. I think there's like a one-shot car chase scene that I'm again, more of a movie nerd. I fucking go
remember
bonkers over oneers.
Yeah.
It's impressive choreography, especially when shit's blowing up and cars
like
are
the
crashing
fight.
and stuff.
All the fight scenes when they were that street shootout scene
Yeah,
that they had.
that's the one.
Oh my god!
So yeah. So I will be watching
my,
Extraction 2.
My thought with Extraction 2, though, is it immediately reminded me of an old movie that never came out, never even started, but a while back, I don't know, 2008 or something, there was talk about a Green Arrow movie, Escape from Supermax. And
What?
it was going to be set, or the setting or the idea of it was that Green Arrow was falsely accused of something and put into a Supermax prison, and he had to escape from it. And I wanted that
like
movie.
that concept.
I wanted the movie to come out, because especially back then when there wasn't a lot of superhero movies, it was already breaking a mold. It was breaking a mold that didn't exist.
When did they had this idea was running? Was it as CW Arrow was airing?
I'm not even. No, I don't think Green. I'm horrible with dates. I don't know when it was, but anyway. So watching that scene in that trailer of him trying to get that girl out of what looked like a prison or some sort of riot, like I don't know, that was the first thing that popped in my head. It's like, man, I wish we would have gotten that Green Arrow Escape from Supermax movie.
Well, that would have been good. Like, I feel hopefully it would have been good, but I feel like it's on that level with all those movies like The Raid and like what we've been getting with like
I haven't seen The Raid. I heard it's really
Hit
good.
that button now.
Where is it?
Oh, now?
Yeah.
quickly,
Oh, no.
quickly.
Just
Hit
do
'em.
it.
Son.
Hit 'em.
Bend over.
First one.
Shame.
There it is. Yeah.
Shame.
The Raid. The
And it won't be
Raid.
the first. That button's mainly meant for me.
It's
I mean, anime stuff. I'm gonna get
to me
all
like
sorts
it's one
shame.
of the greatest action movies ever made, and I will say that like
That's what I've heard.
it's
That's what I've heard.
phenomenal.
Oh. Oh, yeah. If you can hear that in the background, if it's coming through, we're in our studio.
Oh, it's the
right
Disneyland
next
fireworks.
to Disneyland.
Oh,
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
And the other trailer that we just saw was Secret Invasion. When's that taking place?
How do we feel about this?
From what I gathered, Secret Invasion takes place in the MCU as of now, like where everything is now. Like it's not going to be like the other ones where
Now, and not now then?
in the here and now. now.
So this is supposed to be like the kind of the springboards into the next phase, kind of.
Hopefully, because
That the one that Ant-Man was apparently not.
Ugh. Are we even going to talk about majors? Let's keep it on Secret Invasion.
I'm trying to remember because they announced like the next two Avengers movies, right? Or the next two like Avengers baddies, and Kang the Conqueror was first, right? And
Yeah, he's a big one.
Then wasn't Secret Wars? I think Secret Wars was the name of the next Avengers phase after Kang the Conqueror. So I think Secret Invasion leads into that. I could be wrong. So we might be getting like an early seed into the next.
I can see that happening. I can absolutely see that happening because Nick Fury hasn't been present in any of the past couple of phases. I don't think it counts in Spider-Man.
which I think was a mistake, by the way. This is a
Absolutely.
Fury in and
Because spoiler
Shield
alert,
and
that
all
wasn't
that
really
stuff.
Nick Fury. He was off planet. He was played by a Skrull.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, and it's a series, Secret Invasion series. I love when you get to hash out what's going to be happening in that universe over however many episodes, instead of it just being like a fucking movie.
oh yeah, I do prefer a series in this type of content. Like a series is definitely going to be able to give you more information on what's happening rather than just a movie.
Oh yeah, I think Marvel's in a great position, and I think DC will get there with James Gunn's plan to have everything all connected. But I mean, comic books just work so well as a series, and but then to also have the ability to bring it to a movie for that big finale, that big climax fight, and I think we haven't seen it yet too much with Marvel because they have all these shows, but there hasn't been that connection,
Like a payoff.
yeah, they have this opportunity to tell like a bigger story and connect it much deeper than what they've ever had in the past. And they haven't capitalized on it yet, and maybe we'll start seeing that.
Oh, by the way, the next two Avengers movies, the next one's the Kang Dynasty,
Okay,
and then Avengers: Secret Wars,
all right.
which is supposed to be the ending of that particular phase and kind of brings the whole multiverse saga to its conclusion.
Those are the next Marvel movies.
Those are the next Avengers movies.
Okay, and they're they both fall under the multiverse.
Yes.
Okay, interesting then. That could that could be interesting because then we could see maybe alternate versions. I think I just saw something about Chris Evans.
Oh yeah, Captain America has more.
It might not be
stories to
done
tell.
yet or
Yeah.
something like that. So we could end up seeing.
I feel like I've been seeing a lot of those announcements of like people kind of teasing that I might reprise my role. It's been for the past week. It's been a handful of people.
Yeah, they can't find
it's
other
been a few.
movies. Disney, take me back.
Careful, the big bad mouse is going to get you. Oh boy,
I need that.
what'd you say about me? I'll kick your ass. Oh boy.
There's the voice guy.
No, I'm not going to do that. God damn it. Veering away from the trailers, there were a couple of announcements that we talked about.
Major announcements.
Major announcements. I know Doug perked
Heavy
up for this one.
hitters.
Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Yes, this is something that is
Look at him, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
this is
Get it,
something
get
that
it, Doug.
they've talked about for a while. Like once once Discovery took off and it worked, I know some people say it didn't, but it obviously made enough that Paramount has launched, 5 series now since then, or 4 more additional ones. So they've talked about Starfleet Academy for a while. There was talk, I remember reading like, oh, this is a chance to do like a CW kind of teen drama or something. They haven't said anything about this official announcement. I'm interested in what era it's taking place. Right now, current shows are taking place in like 3 distinct eras. Technically 4, I guess. But so, there's still questions that need to be answered about this show, but I think it's a great opportunity to see a side of Star Trek and the Federation that, a few episodes have covered in TNG and Deep Space Nine. They've talked about the Academy. They've done, some characters have gone off to the Academy and come back, but it really hasn't been explored too much. And I think there's a great opportunity to maybe introduce a larger audience. If they do go for that teen CW kind of drama, then maybe, some people can get interested in that's never watched Star Trek before.
And Master Segues, check this out. Speaking of schools and teenagers, the last announcement.
Yes.
HBO's Harry Potter reboot series, Master of Segue. How do you guys feel about that? There's a lot of controversy with J.K. Rowling. She's having everyone knows about her and being against certain things, and she does have an involvement with some of the creative stuff. She does with some of the creative stuff with the reboot. But other than that, I don't want to get too political about it. But other than that, how do you feel about rebooting something that a lot of us grew up on? I mean, the first movie came out in 2001. I was 11 years old.
A baby.
Grew up with the movies, man.
Yeah.
Okay, do you feel like it's, even though it is a reboot, do you feel like it's too soon?
I think the discussion, that question of has it been too soon to reboot such and such has been asked before, but like, Spider-Man's, Batman's, I don't think it's about too soon because if you're able to execute it well enough, then it's too soon doesn't matter. Again, like I said before, I love when you're able to tell things in an episodic way, and so if the way that they're going to lay this out is each season is going to be a book, and if Harry Potter has 8 books, right? Don't come at me. 8 books, so that's 8 seasons guaranteed, and I feel it's going to be cool. Going to be cool to explore some things that, again, in a movie format, you can't squeeze into those 2 hours.
First and foremost, sorry, has anyone read the books?
Yeah,
I have not.
I
yeah,
haven't.
absolutely.
Okay, so you've read the books.
7
Oh,
books.
he doesn't get a shame?
You've read the books?
Yes.
Okay. I thought of it the whole time before I read the books that it was some kind of cheesy kids series, and then I read the books, and holy shit, the things they put that main character through.
What the book and the movies, I mean, and Harry Potter's a whole deep dive that we'll get into at some other episode. But what I like about the books and the movie, the whole story of Harry Potter is that it introduces it's a magical world and everything, and then shit gets real, and then you have to grow up out of the whole magical thing of being a kid. And deal with the magical world of adulthood in some fucking catastrophic, tragic way.
I will say this for me though with
Magic
Harry Potter.
isn't funny, Jermaine. It's real.
No,
Okay, it's my life.
you guys may have to shame me on this one, but
You can't self-shame. Fuck you. God
no,
damn it.
no. I didn't watch any of the Harry Potters until
Oh,
everything
shame that
was
motherfucker.
finished. So
Wait,
I got
I'm
into
sorry.
it. I got into it super late.
That's fine. No. Retract that shame. That's fine. Because you eventually saw it.
Technically, I fell asleep through all of them except the last one, so I'm not sure if I've
Yeah, there you
ever
go.
watched.
Shame.
I've ever actually watched all of them.
Yeah, scoot away from me.
So
I'll punch you.
my question for the two of you that have read the books is there enough missing story or events that the movies didn't cover that need to be expanded upon?
That's a good question.
I
It's been
think
years
absolutely.
ago. Yeah?
Absolutely. There's a fucking wealth of stuff in there that they can stretch a whole series about and deep dive into the stuff that they didn't cover in the books. You go online on the forums and you see the biggest complaint is, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't show that, they didn't show that. Like, there's plenty of stuff that they can do to bring the fans in and just fan service everywhere. Just
Yeah, I guess any media that or any movie that's an adaptation from a book, I guess there will always be those things because a book is huge, always.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody always says the book is better regardless of what.
Except for Fight Club. That shit was 1-to-1. Read Fight Club. It reads exactly like the fucking movie. It's great.
That's awesome.
There's no Stephen King. Let me take 2 chapters to describe the room. No, it's just straight to it. But again, getting back to it.
Real quick, this button right here, that's the shame button. I've never seen Fight Club.
Oh,
I've never read the book.
Hold on. Give me a second. Lean away from the
Shame.
mother
Shame.
fucker.
We almost need to start a list.
Sorry, sorry, Doug. I'm gonna have to stop you for a second. Let that simmer. Let the record show that I am deeply disappointed.
Though again, I would argue Fight Club's a great movie. Maybe not so nerdy, but it is absolutely a great movie for a movie nerd. It should be on a list. And I was gonna say, I think, as we throw out these shame bells, we should probably get a list going of, because we got a pretty good theater setup here at the house that, we can have movie nights, and we were like, no, you're going to watch Fight Club.
Because everybody has that list of movies where it's pop culture. It's in the pop culture zeitgeist.
It's just if you ask me off the top of my head, I couldn't give you a list. But as you know, we conversate about it. I haven't seen that.
And everyone reflexively goes, "Oh my god, you haven't seen it?" But really,
Yeah.
but realistically, we all have that list, and so I'm not gonna throw too much shame at that. So I love you. I still love you.
Yeah. And
I'll give you 1 ring on the shame bell.
We need to have that.
That should absolutely be like an Instagram post every once in a while. But like, here's Rudy's shame list of movies that he hasn't seen.
Well, I was going to say, one thing that I hope that we can give to the nerd world is, a list exactly of, stuff that maybe people missed. Maybe it was too old for, some of our younger listeners. Maybe it was too obscure. I got one for you guys. Has anyone ever seen The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys?
No.
No, it is a completely random movie, but it is nerd. It's a coming of age movie. It is very, very good, and that is on my list of something that I would love everyone to go
You're telling
watch.
me that's not a true life story? Like,
No.
it's not a biography. It's not a.
Sounds kind of dangerous.
Put the Vaseline away.
It's not a documentary.
Yeah. So that movie is something that I know a lot of people miss. And if you're in this world, if you love comic books, it is so good. Like I said, it's a coming of age movie, but it is with a group of boys. They're comic book people. It is great. And so that's something that hopefully with this podcast, as we discuss all the popular stuff,
because I am a big movie person, but for me, because of like that niche of things that I just couldn't let go, like the cartoons and the anime and the comic books and the manga, it took me a while to start watching anything out of that. Like I would watch Power Rangers,
I
and,
gotcha.
and things like that. Like my cartoons, of course, but I had friends that watched, like other shows, that weren't nerdy things, like I don't know, like 90210, and all that stuff, like Gossip Girl.
Excuse me, it's Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah.
It's not just 90210. You can't just say that, okay?
Friends was the one that everyone talked about.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I don't even know what that is.
It wasn't for me.
But I will say the one movie, I have my movie list of, like my Ninja Turtles, all those things,
you know all about it.
The movie, but the one movie that like grabbed me and honestly,
We're still
told
talking about
me,
the altar boy thing?
yes, definitely, but
Grabbed me and fondled me.
hold me tight and never let go. But
I'm about 30% right now.
the movie that made me say like, holy shit, I need to like watch other things besides just the geeky and nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
For me was Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
That-
Are you not entertained? Why did I do that as Bane?
That movie, like, just
you not
blew my mind. Like,
It's
it
kind of
just
the same shot.
the writing, the characters, and in general, what it was about. It's a kind of a take from, Spartacus and whatnot. But it was just everything about that movie felt like it was a little bit of things that I got into the comics, that you could see that as a comic, but it was like the character development, and like what was going on, and him in the gladiator, arena, the one-liners being delivered, of course, the acting and all that stuff. But that was the movie that was like, you know what, you need to start watching like other things.
We'll
you know
do that.
What was interesting about that movie, was the trailers really emphasized like he's going to be this like unknown gladiator in the mask, and everyone's going to cheer for him. And me being the superhero nerd, I was like, yes, we're getting like it's a superhero. And he wasn't in the mask. It was one fight, and the emperor came down. It's like, who are you? And it's like, and he gave the great speech. It paid off. I mean, it didn't kill the movie, but I just remember watching. It was like, oh, I wanted that superhero because that's just what I got. I mean, and essentially, he still was a superhero,
and it was a dope mask.
Yeah, and the mask was really cool,
MF
and it still kind of
Doom,
symbolized.
MF Doom.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Doom.
Kind of. Do you remember when movie trailers had the guy, one man in a world, that stuff?
Oh yeah.
You don't see that at all. It's just the whole Hans Zimmer thing.
Yeah, or like the sound effect
And the text.
There's some great.
I miss
I
that.
am
This
Optimus
summer.
Prime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you go through trailers throughout the decades, like you'll see these trends. We are certainly in certain trends. We went through that. You take a song but you slow it down with the piano.
Oh my god!
Which
I think
I will say
Jordan Peele did that a lot in most of his movie trailers, which I kind of like.
the best example, and not in a bad way, absolutely amazing, was the Rogue One trailer. And it was a Star Wars theme, just as that slow piano, and it fits. So I loved the Rogue One trailer, and it got me so hyped for a movie that ended up being amazing.
Is beautiful. I don't understand why all
We have
Star
to get
Wars
to
movies
deep dive on
can't
that.
fit. Oh yeah,
yeah. We're gonna get a
definitely.
deep dive, but I think that's a good place to end it on all off. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you very, very much for listening. We have been the Hype
I don't want to go back to regular life.
I'm sorry. And like we were talking about challenges, what are you gonna check out this week? What thing are you gonna be hyped about this week? Super Mario's coming out it's coming out tomorrow. It's coming out this weekend. I'm gonna try to check it out. You guys are gonna check anything out this weekend?
No, this weekend we'll be in San Diego.
That's right.
There's all sorts of nerdy stuff going on.
Whose birthday is it? Whose birthday?
Yeah.
Birthday month
Holly turning 21.
times
So-
2.
Also, if no one's been paying attention, Star Wars Celebration kicks off tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
wow.
So, guys, there are things to be hyped about. Check us out on Instagram at The Hype Attack. You can find me, Isaac, at Forehead FPV on both Instagram and TikTok. Doug?
Yeah, you'll find me at Dougie Donuts on Instagram and Twitch, which I'm barely on. Yeah, carry on the conversation, people.
And you can find me on Instagram at jlightburn5555.
Rudy?
I am on Instagram at rogue.1.
Oh, yeah. Again, thank you guys for listening to our first episode. There's going to be more to come. We're going to do some deep dives. Snyderverse. So we're going to get into some stuff, folks. So just make sure to tune in. Same hype time, same hype channel. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Hype attack.
Almost like that.